Well, good evening, everybody. Group Blues Reviews here, and I hope that you all have had a great summer. Off season from the great hockey season that was, of course, the Blues' first Stanley Cup in their franchise history, and now we're entering the 2019-2020 defending Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues season. And I just can't wait for that first game next week on October 2nd. Who's ready? And to see that banner taking a rise up into the rafters, and it'll be a memory forever. Anyway, I apologize to my friend Ben and others who thought that I was going to post something about the Faulk trade, which I'm going to talk about right now. I was going to post it last night, but unfortunately had some things come up, and so now I'm having to do it here tonight. But the Blues really, and Doug Armstrong made a statement that they are still committed to continuing making this team great and continuing pursuing another Stanley Cup this year, and not just saying, one is okay and that's it. And they did that with this trade yesterday by getting Justin Faulk from the Carolina Hurricanes. So the deal as follows: the St. Louis Blues get Justin Faulk in a 2020 fifth round draft pick from the 2020 NHL draft, and the Carolina Hurricanes get Joel Edmundson, a 2021 seventh round pick, which is from the 2021 NHL draft. And then the pick, who's also a prospect for the Blues already in their system, Dominic Bach. So a good prospect, of course, a very good defenseman, Joel Edmundson, a very capable defenseman who was, of course, a part of that great defense that helped the Blues to win the Stanley Cup. There, so a lot of things here to think about with regards to this trade. First of all, the rumor has been that Carolina, and I don't know much about them, but I do know that after their great run in the playoffs, that they were going to be looking for a forward in the offseason, not a defenseman. And so it was a little bit weird to hear that Justin Faulk was coming to St. Louis. I had no idea, didn't even think about it, and I don't think a lot of people really knew this was going to happen. So the first thought is this a cap space move for the Carolina Hurricanes for in the near future, looking at what they have? It's just something to think about. And then also, when you look at it from the Blues perspective, is, Justin Faulk, he's a very capable defenseman, which I'm going to go into here in a minute. But it's also looking at the Blues perspective and the fact that Petro is starting to get up there in age. Most NHL defensemen on average, their prime years are typically right where Justin Faulk is starting. I mean, usually it's at their mid to late 20s, and he's going to be 27 and goes till about 32, 33. And then most defensemen that are not the superstar caliber, like some of the defensemen we've seen in our in time here in St. Louis, like an Al McKennis or a Chris Pronger, or other defensemen like a Paul Coffey, and Ray Bourque, other defensemen like that who can play longer. Most defensemen, those are their prime years and the best that you see. So also with the Blues, especially with also signing Justin Faulk to a 7-year contract worth $45.5 million at $6.5 million per year. Are they looking at the possibility of Petro, because he will be a free agent? And of course, I'm talking about Alex Pietrangelo. Will he want to walk? Will the Blues be able to afford him? How much cap space are they going to have? I know Doug Armstrong said that one of the things that the Blues are being able to do in this deal is 14%, I believe, of box cap hit or something along those lines. Carolina's picking up, and so that's helping with the cap space and all of this. So it's something to keep in mind also when you're looking at the numbers. But also, are the Blues looking at this, and is Doug Armstrong looking at this for future considerations as regards to will Petro walk? Will they be able to sign him? I mean, Petro was a big part of the Blues Stanley Cup. He played a lot of minutes, and also too with the great play of Parayko. With the great resurgence of Jay Bouwmeester, Petro was able to put in more of his offense into the game, which he scored some key goals, especially that Game 7 goal. And when Todd Marchand, of course, decided to get out of the way on a change, and Petro did the rest. And I mean, it's just something, to think about with these future considerations, what the Blues are looking at, what Armstrong is looking at. And Armstrong may know some things too. He said in the press conference that it had nothing to do with Edmundson going to arbitration. They're looking at 3 pair of defensemen now that they're going to have. They're going to have 3 good pair of defensemen. With exhaustion that can be setting in at certain times of this year, going into defending your Stanley Cup championship, having a fresh, great guy like Justin Faulk come in, and just having 3 pair of defensemen to roll now, this can really help out. And I agree with that. Also, to Justin Faulk's age. I mean, everything seems to kind of align in that route. And then also, too, so the Blues are going to have some decisions in the future about signing some other free agencies. So, looking at this and looking at Petro and even other defensemen who are coming up in the system, there's a lot there to think about and to look at from the Blues perspective as well, too, in this signing. I think Justin Faulk is a great signing. I think also, too, Carolina, they get a good player at prospect in Dominic Bach, but they get a good player in Joel Edmundson. And let's face it, too, the Blues scratched Edmundson sometimes, even in playoffs. Justin Faulk is a guy that you're not going to see scratched much in key situations like the playoffs. He's 27. He comes in at 6 foot, 217 pounds. He's a top 10 D. He's considered to be a top 10 D. He's a 3-time All-Star. He's really good with moving the puck. He's considered offensive minded, and he's considered to have a good shot. When you look at the games he's played, just under 600 games total. He's got 85 goals total, 173 assists, which puts him just under 260 points total. He's got 40 power play goals. He's got 102 points on the power play, and he actually has 19 game-winning goals. So he's been involved in a lot of it, a lot of the offense with regards to when he's been playing at Carolina. I believe at some point he wore the C. He's also been an alternate, so he brings leadership qualities, which is very important, considering the fact that if Petro does walk and he has to kind of fit into that role, he can do it. Of course, though, I personally believe that if Petro left, O'Reilly would be the one to take over the captaincy, but who knows there. But as far as looking at this, I think it's a very good trade. I think that you're bringing in, as again, breaking down the stats and talking about this defenseman. He looks good, and he played a big role with the success of Carolina this year, and in previous years has just been a very good defenseman for him. But keeping in mind too that Carolina was also already pretty loaded on defense. And as I said, Edmundson, he was sitting out games too. So I just don't have a problem with him parting ways with us. And the Blues do have other guys coming up. And another thing, too, to keep in mind, there is the expansion draft coming, too, and you can only protect so many players on offense and defense. So getting him locked up is a big deal. Another part of this trade deal, too, is that Justin Faulk has a no-trade clause the first 5 years of this deal. And then the last few years of that deal, the last what would be 2 years, he can provide a list of 15 teams that he could be traded to, and that's it. So he has some control in the deal, but so did the Blues, and they got things worked out. So I think that getting a defenseman that in Faulk that has all those offensive capabilities, but also can play good defense too, having now 3 strong defensive lines, and I think you're not losing necessarily anything by replacing Edmundson with Faulk. You're bringing in a guy who you wouldn't scratch like you scratched Edmundson. I think it's a great deal for the Blues overall. Of course, only time will tell. Hopefully there's no injuries here, and hopefully he doesn't become injury prone. And like I said, he's entering in the prime of his life right now as far as an NHL defenseman at 27. So I see this as a great start to before the upcoming season for the Blues with getting Faulk on the defense. And things are going to be looking good so far on paper again for the Blues, but let's see how the product performs on the ice. So I think it's a good deal for both teams, but I do think that you give the edge to the Blues. And again, Armstrong doing his magic with trades. So great move by Armstrong. Justin Faulk, welcome to the St. Louis Blues. And Blues fans, here we go again. Another season coming up next week as the Blues open up on October 2nd, and I'm looking forward to it. So may have another video before the beginning of the season starts, but right now just continuing to enjoy the rest of this time off until we get going and defending our championship here for the 2019-2020 season. So again, welcome Justin Faulk, and looking forward to having more of these videos after Blues games throughout the regular season and talking to you all. And again, thank you to all that stop by and watch my videos, have comments and feedback. I really appreciate it. And let's look forward to another good season of Blues hockey. Take care, fans, and look forward to seeing the Blues on the ice with you and talking Blues hockey. And also, too, I have to say this as well, go Cardinals. Let's see them. They're going to be in the playoffs. Congratulations to them. And let's hope that they win that division. And hopefully we're going to be seeing a combination of Blues hockey at the beginning of the season while seeing playoff baseball continue on deep into October. Take care, Blues fans.